Happy New Year, you beautiful human, and welcome back to my channel. So we are sitting on the floor today. I wanted to see if sitting on the floor made me feel a little bit more comfortable. So I am two talking YouTube videos in, and I'm noticing my anxiety get a little less anxiety and my nerves get a little less nerves. But I was like, let me see if sitting on the floor helps. I've seen some of my favorite YouTubers do it, and so we're gonna sit on the floor and talk about our ins and outs for 2024. I have been seeing that trend across social media platforms for a good hot minute. Like December 31st, I was seeing everybody post about their ins and outs. And I love the idea of it, but something that stood out to me when seeing them on Instagram and TikTok was we have a long list of ins and outs and it's not even January 5th. How did you determine what's going to be in or out 3 days before the new year started? They may absolutely be able to do so, and that is great for them. For me, I was like, I don't even know what's in and out for me tomorrow. Seeing everyone else's ins and outs was kind of like a push for me to create my own, but also create them in a way that feels genuine and applicable and obtainable for me. In those ins and outs, I'm only giving myself 4 ins and 4 outs so that I don't get overwhelmed with feeling like I have to complete this long list of things. I think it's really important for us to, and for me, I'm not even gonna say us because babe, you on the other side of this camera may absolutely have your own way of operating, but for me, I need to break things down, mark them off, see them completed, and when I have this big long list for the whole year, I find myself feeling overwhelmed, discouraged because I'm not accomplishing them, or just in a maze, in a wonderland of how I'm going to get to where I want to be. So I really taking the time to set annual goals, but also quarterly things that I want to see happen. And so my ins and outs for Q1 of 2024 are really special to me because it's transitioning from 2023 to 2024. I already started building and creating habits that put me in a place that are honoring who I want to be as a woman. So it's not like I'm doing anything new. I'm just building off of what was taking place at the end of Q4 in 2023. So in true Angie fashion, if y'all see me looking down, I have my iPad. That is the student and the teacher in me that I feel like I always need to have written notes somewhere so I can remember what it is that I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it, or else I will be somewhere off on a tangent. That's the student and teacher in me, but it's also the personality in me. I will start here at A, but end up at 2000. And as you see, there is no A through Z. I have left letters and have entered into numbers somehow. And so if I don't have something to keep me on track, we will be here for 45 minutes talking about nothing. So, let's talk about my ins and outs for 2024. As I talk about mine, I hope that you start to generate or think about what you want yours to be. And maybe you are the kind of person that is definitely okay with making annual ins and outs. I need something a little more structured and time oriented. Hey Mars, come here, baby. Yeah, so I need goals for the year and for the quarter that can help me stay on track. And so if I break them up into quarters, that's really helpful for me. So let's start with the outs. I only have 4. Number 1, the first out of the year is buy now, pay later apps. I want to live a life that is financially smart, financially free, financially sound, and not financially impulsive. And so if I want to honor those things that I see my future self living in terms of my finances, I've got to do away with Klarna, Afterpay, Affirm, you name them, they have got to go because they're not doing me any good in determining and discovering the woman I want to be. And we're spending more money on this monthly payment plan when we could have just said, I don't have the money for that right now. I need to save up, or I need to really think about if this is a buy that I must have. Maybe some of those things, Angeline, that you are using buy now, pay later apps for are not things that you actually need in your life. And so we're not honoring the kind of woman that is intentional with her spending by engaging or using those apps. So we are doing away. Baby, they gotta go. I am deleting them from my phone. I'm not even gonna click the option when I check out. we're letting those go in 2024. The second out of 2024 is indecisive language. I do not want to use statements like maybe or I think or I guess. I want to use language that solidifies to people that Angie knows exactly what she's talking about. Angie knows exactly what she needs. Angie knows exactly what she wants. And she is communicating that clearly not only to us, but to herself. In indecisive language, babes, friends, loves, beautiful people, does not do that. And so an out for 2024 is indecisive language. It's got to go. We are communicating clearly not only to ourselves but to those around us so we can get our needs met, that we can move forward, that we can be successful. So getting rid of indecisive language is big on my list of outs for 2024. If you see me, if you're around me, if you're somebody that loves me and knows me, if you hear me using language like I think, maybe, I guess, tell me to fix it. And something I'm going to challenge myself to do when I find myself using indecisive language is to ask myself why I feel indecisive about it and checking in with what can I do to get a clear picture of where I'm headed, where I'm going, and what I want. Because maybe I'm using that language because I am genuinely wow. Maybe I'm using that language because I am genuinely indecisive. And if I am genuinely indecisive, where can I go to find clarity? How can I find clarity? So doing away with indecisive language in 2024. My third out for Q1 of 2024 is rushing. Let me tell y'all something. I'm sick of myself when it comes to running late. I'm tired of me. I don't know if anybody else on the late train gets sick of themselves, but I am tired of rushing. I want to get somewhere in ease and punctuality. I also think like that goes for so many other aspects of my life in terms of developing skills that take away some of that go, go, go mentality. And so rushing in terms of being in a hurry to get somewhere because I'm late, or in terms of being in a hurry to achieve something because I think I'm behind. In general, I want to get rid of rushing. Like I want rushing to go out the window in Q1. I'm tired of being late. I'm sick of myself when it comes to that. I'm tired of being late. I'm tired of being late. Sometimes, y'all, I will wake up early and still be late. And that's unwell. God is not pleased with that kind of behavior. So I want to stop rushing. I'm going to stop rushing. The fourth out of 2024, and I've already started to implement this in 2023, but it is a clear out in 2024, is sleeping on myself. If I sleep on myself, other people have no choice but to sleep on me because of what I'm projecting. In 2024, I am done sleeping on myself. That's got to go. Even if that means I have to step out of my comfort zone or be pushed out of my comfort zone in order to get there, I'm going to do it. That's like prime example with this YouTube channel. That's prime example for coaching. Like I know I have the tools. I need to share them with the world and stop being so humbug. I want to be a humble person, but also walk in my authority, that I know I have the knowledge and the capacity to serve others in a way that is not only educational and beneficial, but shines light on them so they can shine light on others. So I'm done sleeping on myself. It's over. It's over. And I want you to do the same. I don't say that in a way that is braggy or boastful. I want everybody to stop sleeping on themselves. I want us all to be up here. If we feel like we started here in 2024, by the end of Q1, I want us here. Stop sleeping on yourself, babe. We have work to do. We have things to do. We have goals to achieve. People are depending on you to be successful so that they can know that they have the tools and are capable to do it too. So we're done sleeping on ourselves. Okay? So in a nutshell, my 4 outs for Q1 of 2024 are buy now, pay later apps, indecisive language, rushing, and sleeping on myself. And so I encourage you to make your first 4 outs of the year, really tackle them hard. I'm going to hit those 4 things as hard as possible in Q1, so that by the time Q2 comes around, I'm feeling like in the groove with those 4, so much so that I feel like I can add another 4 to the list. So let's get with the ends. Let's talk about the ends. First thing on my ends list of 2024 is womanhood. I don't know if any other woman in this world feels like this, but I am 28 years old. And sometimes I have a hard time being like, I'm a 28-year-old woman. What? Also, what does that mean? What the hell does that mean? What does that mean? And sometimes, especially in my workplace, I find myself getting the role of like little sister or niece or something that identifies with like a little girl mentality. And although I want to remain sweet and humble and all the other things that may come with like that girl-like persona, I'm a woman. I'm a grown ass woman, and I want to walk in it. I want to feel like it. I want to exude it. And so like in Q1 of 2024, a big in for me is determining what womanhood looks like. What does that look like to me? What is that structured like? How is that shaped? How does that present itself to the world in a form that is authentic to Angie? And so the first in of 2024 for me is identifying what womanhood is and what it looks like to me. Because sometimes I go to these places and I'm sick of everybody looking at me like their little sister. I'm an adult. I am an adult. I just said that so that I can remind myself I'm an adult. I'm an adult. And I make decisions. I pay my bills. I file my taxes. I know how to, read the sign that says put oil in your car. I'm an adult. I'm an adult woman. I'm somebody's wife. I'm somebody's mother. I'm a woman. I'm a woman. Not a little girl anymore. I'm a woman. So womanhood is number one. Number two is networking. I want to meet the people. I want to go to the conferences. I want to go to the events. I don't feel like I've ever been shy, but I also don't feel like I've been one to know how to work a room. I've been in environments where I've had to communicate, network with people, but I'm not like the social butterfly. And I really want to tap into that more. The older I get, the more I'm learning that it is about your knowledge base, but it's also so much about how much you communicate and get out there and talk to people, get to know people, shake the hands, get the emails, get the phone numbers, go to the conferences, have the brunch, show up to the luncheon, and put yourself out there. So number two on my ends is networking. Number three on my ends list for 2024 is boundaries. I don't think that I have no boundaries, but I do think I'm extremely accessible to a lot of people, which drains my battery sometimes, doesn't allow me to engage in relationships that are reciprocal, and sometimes just leaves me feeling a little jaded in relationships. And so I don't mean boundaries in a way that I am standoffish or think I'm better than people or whatever the case may be. I'm not talking about putting myself up here and everyone else down here. I am talking about just really creating a protective boundary and circle around myself so that I'm engaging in things that honor who I am, who I'm becoming, and fill my cup. I also am learning, and I have learned in the past, that every relationship is not going to be a reciprocal relationship, but I need to understand that there is a cap for those relationships that are constantly taking. And so I need to decide what things am I going to invest in? What things and people am I okay with saying this is a one-sided relationship and I'm okay with that, but I can't do that for everyone. I cannot do that for everyone. So really taking time to set some boundaries when it comes to accessibility to me, and I encourage everyone to do the same. Really thinking about those relationships and what kind of relationship it is, and like setting a cap. Like I might have the capacity for 5 non-reciprocal relationships a year. If you don't make the cut, I'm sorry, try again in the following year. But I'm doing this to preserve my peace and to make sure that I am not pouring, and then constantly feeling drained or let down or jaded. Because we want to be happy givers. I don't know if people on here watching this are Bible believers, are Christians, but the Bible talks about being a joyful giver. And I want to be a joyful giver in every aspect of my life. And so I've got to think about where it is that I'm going to spend my time giving and be intentional about what that looks like for me. So boundaries. Number 3 is we're setting some boundaries. We're setting some people boundaries in 2024. Last on my Q1 2024 ends is brain dumping. I have been challenged by my mentor to brain dump, and I was genuinely thinking like, how often do I want to brain dump? And I'm going into the year brain dumping at the beginning of the month and brain dumping at the end of the month. For those who are not familiar with brain dumping, it is where you just get a piece of paper or you get your electronic device and you just write out everything that comes to your mind in a span of 30 minutes, an hour, whatever the time frame is that you think of it. And then you go back and you categorize those things, or you scratch off things that are not worth revisiting from your brain dump, and you categorize them, and then you see what you want to do with those thoughts that you had in that allotted time frame. And so I want to brain dump at the beginning and at the end of the month because I genuinely feel like there are so many things that run through my brain in terms of ideas, in terms of feelings, emotions, relationships. There are so many things that run rampant through my brain throughout the day, even throughout the month, that I just like lose sight or lose track of because I didn't write it down or I didn't think about it and then implement it, and then it's lost. I'm a really creative person. I enjoy putting on events and hosting things and creating things, and because my mind constantly moves every day about things I can do, I lose a lot of those ideas because I'm not writing them down or sharing them with someone else or putting them somewhere that I can come back to and revisit. And so brain dumping at the beginning and the end of the month is my last in for Q1 of 2024. So my 4 ends for 2024 are womanhood, really defining what that looks like for me. And if y'all want me to make more videos on what that journey and that process has been like, I would love for you to comment below and let me know. My second one is boundaries, setting some boundaries, not being so accessible, recognizing what cups are just cups that I pour into and setting a cap for that. Number 3 is networking, getting out there, meeting the people, shaking the hands, going to the events, being more social in a way that is not just academic. And then number 4 is brain dumping twice a month to get all of my thoughts, ideas, emotions, feelings out and about on paper or in my handy dandy iPad. So this is your charge, my loves. Make some ins and outs that are obtainable to you. Now, if you are an annual girly or guy and you feel like you accomplish your annual goals if you just write them out big, large, and in charge, great. If you are someone like me who needs a little bit more structure, something that's a little bit more measurable, something that allows you to check in periodically to see where you are with your goals and your progress over the year, make some quarterly goals, make some quarterly ins and outs, and really give yourself some time to achieve something off the list before you move on to the next thing. It is the new year and we find ourselves inundated with change, and it is everywhere you look, and I encourage you not to get overwhelmed. I also encourage you to make some steps, right? Because when we do get overwhelmed, we can like freeze or we take off running at full speed, and then we find ourselves depleted before the end of Q1 even arrives. So take some time, breathe, recognize that you do not have to do it all at once. Recognize that you do have to do something, however, and that life is a journey. It is not a sprint. It is not a race. It is a race at your own pace, and I encourage you to take it slow. With that being said, loves, that is the end of this video. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on all social media platforms at WithAngieK. Don't be a stranger. Comment below. Follow me on the other platforms. I love you dearly. And Happy New Year again to you. Keep being beautiful. Keep being blessed. Don't let anybody steal your sunshine. And if they try, light their asses on fire with your rays. Bye.